Mandi fires back at Melyssa Ford. That's right, a full-blown war is going on between these two podcast hosts as Melyssa Ford just went on the recent episode of the Joe Budden podcast and let Mandi and other people like Rocky know, hey man, don't be jealous of me being on this podcast. I'm doing my thing. Well, we all know Mandi doesn't let any of these type of slights go, so she went on her Twitter and said a whole bunch of stuff about M4. Now, this was a slew of tweets, and we are going to break it down. First, she says, LMAO. This was giving pew, pew, pew in response to the Melyssa Ford rant. And after that, she says, I promise you, I don't want to be the sixth mic on any podcast. I truly love when people love their jobs, especially when their job and their spot on the couch gets dangled in their face every week. Be a good girl now. All those shots because I like her to improve as a stronger podder. The only thing all of her co-hosts keep begging her to be. Glad there's room for your tight, fit ass on the couch. Grabs keys to the studio I own. And then she says, next time there's a moment to use your very immense vocabulary to hold women accountable for their atrocious behavior, I hope you do, Melyssa Ford. Can't wait to hear your tight, in-shape ass do so next pod around. And then she starts to wrap up by saying, I just want people to be better and I get shots thrown my way. Heard you. And she wraps up by saying, all I wanted was a woman to use her strong voice on a massive platform she has for the good, and it was taken out of context. Then she tries to be cool with it and says, I can also say I was excited to see Melyssa Ford in this dynamic. Her history in the video music game and coming off her stint with Hollywood Unlocked, I'm just disappointed that I'm not getting the woman voice she was hired to be. Now, this is all very, very, very interesting because Mandi has been very critical of Melyssa Ford ever since she arrived to the show with the 6 mic comment, with her on her show saying that, sometimes she just be really misinformed. And I think Mandi should be a little bit more easy on her, considering that the Joe Budden podcast is not really one that you can acclimate into easily. Like, if you look at Mandi, a lot of people don't like the voice that she uses. A lot of people feel like she talks too loud. A lot of people be upset, feel like she overtalks people. And I think if she were ever to join the Joe Budden podcast as a guest or even as a co-host, people would say very negative things about her. It's just kind of the thing people do. I mean, it's just, people hate watch. People, oh, this person talks too much. I hate her. Why does she talk? I hate her guts. And that's what's probably happening with Melyssa Ford. But I do think Mandi has a valid point. However, she may not be giving any lip service to the fact that the Joe Budden podcast is not that easy to be on. I mean, it's hard for anyone to shine. Everybody on that show has struggled to find their footing outside of Joe Budden and probably Rory. I think Rory was always good on the podcast. I think Ish, Flip, Ice, everybody except Parks and Joe and, Rory have had a hard time fitting in. And I think, just to look at Melyssa Ford's comments, I do think there is some jealousy in the industry about her being on the couch. Sure, there are valid critiques. I do believe that she be slacking, half-stepping, and just trying to get a name off her brand so she could go do seaside movies. But I think people like Mandi, people like Rocky, even Bridget Kelly are sometimes think about, hey man, I wonder how I would be on that couch. And you got to feel for Bridget Kelly because she actually had an opportunity to be on the show, but she didn't take it because she was cool with Mandi. Sad, 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 really sad. But let me know what you think about this back and forth. I'm interested to see where it goes. Melyssa Ford is non-confrontational. I think she doesn't like being in the mess in order to maintain her manicured personality. And that's the most annoying part about her. She wants to be prestigious. And sometimes I think, didn't you know you was joining the Joe Budden podcast? It's prestigious to a certain extent, but part of the reason it's prestigious is because people give it up. And Melyssa Ford never gives it up. A lot of the moments from the show just come from her saying something out of line or saying a misnomer, right? To Eddie Griffin. I thought Eddie Griffin was Cat Williams. Or the Cameron situation where, she said that Cameron might have been with underage girls if he was in a whole house. So there's a lot going on. I don't think Melyssa Ford is long for the show. I think she's going to be on the show longer, but I don't think she's long for the show. I don't know if she needs to be there. I think the guys just need to do a guy cast, but Joe Budden has been trying to force a woman on the show for quite some time. It's interesting. Joe's fascination with having women on the show is... I get it. You know, he wants to be Mr. Mr. Ladies Man. He wants to be that type of person. I want to get women voices heard. But he doesn't really create the infrastructure for them to succeed. He doesn't really do a good job of scouting woman talent. And he eventually falls out with all of them. I'm talking about Melyssa. Talking about Mandi, Bridget Kelly, all of those 3 girls. And now Melyssa Ford is probably doing the right thing. You know, she's just being easygoing. I'm cute, I'm funny, in order to just fly under the radar, collect some checks, get that bag, and use the Joe Budden podcast as a launching point for what she really wants to do, because she really don't want to be on that show. I'm sorry. She don't want to be on that show. She's just on there for the check. And I think Mandi pointed that out. Even though I do feel like Mandi was hating a bit. Mandi's hating a bit. Alright, y'all. I wanted to end this video by saying shout out to everybody involved with helping this channel grow. Shout out to people who kind of understand what I'm doing. And there's some people that I think just lack intellect. You know, they may have had a tough time getting through certain classes in school, and as a result can't really function or can't really think about things that I'm doing, and just think about things in a weird way. You know, just think about things in a way that's very close-minded. And speaking about that thing I was talking about earlier, envy. Jealous one's envy, man. A lot of people, they kind of see you doing something and they're upset that they can't do it. They reflect on the time in their lives when, you know, they were good at something, but they were afraid of what people thought, so they didn't do it. They were afraid of what people said, so they stopped. Right? There's some people who watch the Joe Budden podcast, spend all day in the comment section writing essays, and then they see me on YouTube turning those comments into monetizable content. There's a lot of envy. There's a lot of sadness. And I think sometimes it triggers a deep depression because they missed the opportunity. They didn't do what I did. So it comes across in the hate. Oh, Danny, all you do is talk about Joe. Well, all you do is type about Joe. You're jealous. Now, I'm not saying that's everybody, but there's a few folks I see across comment sections, other podcast channels, other Clipper channels, and a lot of you are upset. Don't be upset. Do something about it. If you really think what I'm doing is that problematic, come to the YouTube streets. Let's see what type of opinions you give. Let's see if you're able to put stuff together. Let's see if you can structure a video. I don't think you can. I think you just gotta stay in the comment section being angry and bitter. So bitter that you have to act like I'm some evil person that bothers you, that goes out my way to talk to you. You come in my comment section and you don't even be making sense. And by you, I mean the Newport Mafia. Go walk your dog. Go get a sandwich and order that sandwich with confidence. Don't go up to the deli guy and be like, oh, can I get mumble. Order it so the guy knows what you want to eat. Because right now, the only place you're confident is in my comment section. And you ain't making no sense. Some of you look crazy. Some of you look stupid. Some of you look dumb. I'm not talking about nobody in particular, but you know who you are. Alright, y'all. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.